Hello, and thanks for joining us today. I'm really excited you could be here. So, today I have a very special guest. We're talking a little bit about his journey in creating a really, really cool company that, by the way, you're going to want to buy everything these guys have. It's so cool. And we're going to talk about how you can tap in and learn from his journey to success to maybe be able to get a lot of principles that can help you succeed as well. So, with us today is Samuel Moses. Now, with a passion for entrepreneurship from a very young age, he is the founder and CEO of Socrates Custom Socks, a company based in Boca Raton, Florida, which specializes in producing the highest quality custom socks at the fastest turnaround time. Now, with over 4,000 clients, Socrates has emerged as the industry leader in its field with clients in the United States, Germany, France, Iceland, UK, Israel, and Canada. Now, with a keen eye for both the small details and big picture approach to business, Samuel has sought out for advice on various business topics such as business strategy, team leadership, business communication, marketing, and organizational culture as well. Hey, Samuel, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, and appreciate the intro, and looking forward to speaking to you.
Well, I love what you guys do. I mean, I'm checking out your guys' website. And by the way, if anybody wants to kind of follow along, you can go to SocratesCustom.com. That's SOCKRATES custom.com and check it out. These socks are like the coolest. So I got to ask, like, how did you get in the sock business? A lot of people here are trying to figure out kind of where they start their business, the right idea. So what got you into this business?
Yeah, no, it was really interesting actually, and I get that question a lot. Wherever I go, I tell people what I do. They're like, "Wow, I never thought about that. That's such an interesting little niche, and that's such a little interesting, way that you're providing value to companies. So how did you get started, or how did you find this?" And it kind of started many years ago. We were in retail, and it kind of ties in a little bit to, when you start a business, you never know where it's going to go. We were in retail, and we had these menswear shops that were focused on neckwear. Let's say 10 years ago, and we became a very popular neckwear brand. It was called Andrew's Ties, and it was a chain from all over the world that I owned the stores up in Canada. And customers would come in and they would buy neckwear. And I noticed that the model was a little limited, that it was only servicing a certain type of customer, a more executive type who needed a necktie, financial district type. And I thought to myself, what happens if we add socks? So what we did was we added this brand at the time was very popular in 2013 called Happy Socks. And when we added it, we noticed that we were getting so many new types of people. Everybody, I like to say, from the janitor to the CEO, everybody was coming in to get these socks. And we were like, wow, that's really interesting. Like, we're able to service such a larger demographic, a larger pool of people with these socks, because people really love them, and they're buying. There's a lot of women buying for their husbands, so we got to see a lot of more women coming into the store versus just the traditional, businessman who wanted neckwear. Then what happened was we became a very, very successful seller of this product in the store, and me and my wife decided, what happens if we went and produce our own brand and produce our own socks, the colorful socks. And we having the expertise to manufacture in Italy at the time, we made the natural decision to produce in Italy. And at that time, we found a manufacturer in Italy who was willing to work with us. Our volumes were pretty high, so we were able to get over the hump of the MOQ, of the minimum quantities. But that being said, we had some challenges in the beginning, making sure the label's correct, making sure the sizing's correct, making sure all those things are correct. And we finally got the sock that we liked, and we started to produce it. And then that sock sold very well in the store. Then what happened, because we were in the financial district, is that companies were coming to us and be like, who manufactures these socks? Who makes these things? And we would say that we make them. And they were like, hey, I'm going to a trade show. I'm from Dell, or I'm from Google, or I'm from a financial firm here, and I'm going to a trade show. I'd love to be able to hand out a sock that has my branding on it. So that became a natural fit, and we started to do a lot of these custom socks for these companies. And we kind of looked at the business and we were like, oh, this is interesting. We design it. We have professionals that design it, which was a whole process to find these people that can design it properly. And they pay us, and then we ship it. It's kind of like a nice model versus our retail world of where we were, buying the inventory and then hoping to sell it. So it was kind of like a nice transition into the business. And we decided that we were going to go down that business, and we went full time, and it's been a long road since then. And things have been going really, really well. And we have companies all over the world that buy from us. And We noticed that the common thing is that if you provide good service to anybody in the world, whether it's the UK or Germany or Israel or America, Canada, they all kind of respond to that and they all kind of appreciate that. So that's how we got into the business. And we just focused completely online, digital marketing, step by step. And we're kind of a story of a company that, thank God, has grown a lot, but has grown in a way, slowly and, not overdoing it, taking each step properly to make sure that the foundation is strong so that as we grow, when we're going from 10 orders a month when we started to, a couple hundred a month, we're able to handle that and we're able to deliver on that. So each client, when they get their order, whether we do 200 deals a month or 100 or whatever it is, they're getting it in time. They're getting the same quality that we promised, and that there's consistency in the sales process and the follow-up process afterwards. So that's kind of our road. That's how we got started.
It's so interesting, and there's so many things I want to speak about, or ask you from based on that, because like that, you are the king of pivoting. Like, I mean, this is a testament of what every business owner should be doing. Of, you're in one vertical, you listen to your customer, you're like, wait a second, this is interesting. They like something else. You start stocking that's off the charts. You realize you could probably develop something of better quality with your experience and knowledge that you have. And then you do so. And then people are like, I love this. I mean, it's just essential. But when you went through this, where are you now? Do you guys still have the retail stores?
So we've completely exited retail to focus on the B2B aspect of our sock business, just because of the explosive growth that we've sustained. And it's just the necktie business, as you can imagine. Me and you were talking here. We're not wearing neckties, right? The necktie business has changed a lot, and I'm not going to say it's completely over. There is a market there, but it's totally different than when we started it in 2008 and 2009, and even that was a little late. So we've completely transitioned out of the neckwear business and the retail business and moved completely to the sock business and focusing now on Italian sock manufacturing.
So what made you choose that quality? Because I would imagine that also raises cost. So when you went in, like I've never even like Italian manufacturing, let's start there. Like what's different about that than what we see here in the United States, for example?
So yeah, so the reason we chose Italy, and when you go there, and I go there once a year, we're dealing with a factory. It's like a small run, family owned business, where it's a fourth generation of sock makers. So you can imagine you're walking into this little town. There's a bunch of sock makers there. They all come from where their grandparents were sock makers. They all talk about socks. That's what they care about. And when we were in the neckwear business, it was the same thing, except it was probably 10 generations of tie making, that's where their blood is. They're in neckwear, and in this case, they're making socks, and they know everything about socks. And when they were 8 years old, they were on the floor helping to make socks, and we love that passion. We just love the passion of their product. And yeah, sometimes people come to us and they're like, hey, can you do USB sticks for me? And I'm like, we could do USB sticks, but we're really passionate about the sock. We're really into the sock, just like we were really into neckwear. So I kind of like that, sticking to a product and becoming really, really good at it versus, running around and trying to be good at a lot of things. And I found that Italian manufacturers are very heavily focused, and they do business differently. There is a very different business model over there than how they do it in the United States. There are some other custom sock guys doing it in the United States, and they're great competitors, great companies. But we felt our advantage would be in the US, in manufacturing in Italy. And the one thing I tell people is I can ship from Italy to New York City in one day. If I ship from North Carolina to California, you could ship overnight, but a ground shipment takes 4 days. So we're able to get the product to the country, North America, very, very quickly. And so we saw a lot of advantages. We just saw a lot of advantages of manufacturing in Italy with the passion, the quality of the product. And we believe fundamentally that if you produce a good product, people will value that and they're willing to pay for that. So we kind of base our business on that.
So don't be upset with me for this. And people watching, it might be a dumb question, but I don't know that much about socks. So like what's the difference? What makes a good quality sock versus another one? Because like to me, like a sock's a sock, right? And so like what makes your socks superior? Like what makes them good? Is that they more comfortable? Like give me some insight there.
Right. I do get that a lot also. People are kind of like, what's the difference? A sock's a sock. So there's a couple of things in our business specifically that we have to worry about and that we focused on. So number one was getting the colors right. When a company like Coca-Cola comes to us for socks, you can't just say, oh, I don't have this red, take the other red, so they're really picky. So we had to make sure we had all the colors. Another thing in our business, which causes a lot of friction, but we've thank God managed to fix this problem. Well, not fix it, but manage the problem, is they need everything fast. Everybody needs it fast. So I was like, I have to have all the colors and I got to be able to produce it in 7 days. That was my timeline, 7 days to your door, 7 days to ship. And in this city in Italy, the largest sock producer, the sock producer that we use is right next door to the largest yarn producer. So that gave us an advantage that we're able to get all the colors very quickly and move things. Now, the difference between a normal sock and the socks that we're producing, it all comes down to the quality of the cotton, and the way that the cotton is being treated and the way that it's being sourced. So when you put on our sock, and you do wear our sock, so if you put on our sock, you would see it's just a much softer. It holds up well in the wash. The colors are just way more vibrant. It's just that consistency of that product and the way that it's packaged and the way that it holds up. It's just head over heels better than most of the socks that you would see in the market today.
So when you do you do a lot of testing? You get a lot of feedback when it comes to the comfort side. When you first got into this, were you getting feedback and people say, I like this, I don't like this, and then you're getting with your manufacturer to be able to have things tweaked?
Definitely. And we definitely see that in the beginning. And that ties into starting a business, in that your first product that you ship, and I still remember mine, it was for the Toronto Stock Exchange. And, I still think about it a lot because it was the first order we ever got, and we made it and it came in, and they call me and they're just like, Sam, nobody can put on these socks. It doesn't fit. And I was like, it doesn't fit. Like, we make tons of socks and it doesn't fit. And we realized that their design is such an intricate design that the way that it's woven, it creates a very tight weave. And at that point, the factory didn't find it relevant to call me and tell me that, but they just thought it was okay because that's how we wanted it. So we worked on that process. We went back and forth and we got the perfect size, because it has to be a one size fits most so that women and men can both wear it. And it has to be the perfect fit. Like, it really has to fit properly. So now, doing these couple hundred orders a month, it's very, very rare, if at all, that we would hear a problem about the size and the fit and the color. We get that color right and we get the fit right. And we really have a system in place. It's not just luck. It's just you have a system in place to make sure that all these boxes are being checked. And it ties back to starting a business. You're not going to have all those boxes checked on day one. You're just not, because nobody knows enough about the business and you haven't gone through enough deals to learn that. But over time, if you keep figuring out what the boxes should be and then check them as you go, then you're probably going to be able to create a process that doesn't have errors, and that, there's always some human error, but minimizes the errors. Because if over a year you're doing 2,000 orders, to be able to lower the error rate from 1%, which would be 20 mistakes, to 0.5%, you've just cut it in half. That's 10 reruns, right? So you save quite a bit of money. But the key is, in the beginning, you're not going to be able to figure that out. And what I see with entrepreneurs sometimes when they're starting a business and they come to me for advice, they're kind of, in a way, too looking at it like too detailed in the beginning, like too much. And then I say, sometimes just let it breathe a little bit, let it happen, let it grow, So that's some advice I give to first time starters,
Yeah, it seems like you're really obsessed with quality. Where does that come from?
So I think, it's just, it comes from the store. When we had the store, and people, I see how the executives were really interacting with the necktie and how much they cared about the quality of that necktie. And they would wear it proudly. Like, they're wearing a made in Italy necktie, and they would go to their meeting, and it actually brought them a lot of confidence. They would come back and be like, I got the job, or I got the deal. And I was like, wow, like, this necktie is actually making a difference. Maybe this matters, and when I went to Italy, I was young, I was very young, just out of business school. I went to Italy, and the way that they would talk about the necktie, I was like, wow, like I'm just trying to make like some money, like to, to provide for myself. But this is like a life passion for them. The way that they made that necktie and the way that every stitch was accounted for, and the details that they put into it, the care and the love, because that's how their grandparents did it, and their great grandparents. I kind of like fed off of that. And I was like, this matters. It matters that the quality is good. And in our business, with these clients, they're big companies, but they're spending a lot of money. They're putting a lot of trust in us. So we want to really be able to deliver high quality products every single time. And we want it to be that when they put on a Socrates sock, they think something and they feel something. That these companies do a good job at that if you're consistent. So I think that's where we get it from.
And it's very accurate. I was in Italy earlier this year, and it just makes me think about that because I went in and bought like a jacket, a sports jacket, and it was just the detail they had and the explanation and the passion they had of just walking me through that. I left with, I don't know how much stuff I ended up buying out of there. Like I drank that Kool-Aid, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could see like the pride and the quality. And I'm like, wow. And then, like you said, then when I wear that, I feel different because I know the people behind it have the passion they have. It's really interesting how that is when you're dealing with what you're describing and how it genuinely does make you feel better.
It does. People respond to that. People see how passionate we are, and that comes through because we are passionate and our team is really passionate. We have a small team and they care about it. So definitely you the same way you responded when they were talking about that jacket, our clients definitely respond too, even though sometimes you take a step back, you're like, oh, it's a sock, but it's a sock that we care a lot about. So when they care a lot about it and the client cares a lot about their money, it's kind of like a nice marriage there,
So what are people putting on the socks? I imagine it's not just their logo. Like, what do you see a lot of businesses do creatively where they're designing this?
So our designers are really focused on sock design, but they're talented designers first, and then we apply the sock design. So the first thing we tell the clients is, we're not just going to slap your logo all over a sock so that when Ty gets it, he doesn't want to wear it, right? So we have to make it in a way that's first fashionable and then second branded to you. So we're really focused on that. And one trend that we're seeing right now, which is super popular, are these retro tube socks. You might remember them from the 70s and the 80s. And really, really, fashion forward brands, or really, really brands that care about fashion, let's say, they're like into it because it looks good and their logo's tied into it. But it actually is a sock that people are going to wear first, and then it has their brand on it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And what do you do with your team to kind of create the culture that you have? Because it sounds like everybody shares that same passion, especially for design and making sure the client ends up with something they're really happy with.
Yeah. So we're a really small team. We definitely, one of the things that we do, which might be different than a lot of other companies, is, and I do this, and my number, the girl that works for me, the designer, the lead designer, she does it as well. We're just fully transparent with the team. And we're just really open about what we care about, and we're really open about what we're struggling with, and we're really open about where we can make improvements, so that's definitely something that we have, and that's definitely something that comes through. They're just super passionate because they see that we're super passionate. They're kind of feeding off of us. We hire and we hold and we keep people stay with us for a long time. We actually have no turnover because people just stay with us and grow with us, and the company's been growing so fast that it's been really good.
What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned with scaling a company quickly?
I think the biggest lesson we learned is, as you begin to scale and as the orders come in and as things start going in the right direction, you almost like start to see where the holes are. So all the systems that you have in place, they're great at 10 orders, but are they good at 20 orders? Are they good at 50 orders? And you have to keep an eye on that, because those little things can really escalate, and your time is so minimal. As a day goes so fast. How much can you do in a day, right? So if I'm doing the invoicing for the company and we're doing 10 orders a month and it goes to 100, I can't do that. The invoicing has to be somewhat automated at that point, because it's just too many invoices to do. Or, sock designs, a designer could do really, really great job on 10 designs a week, but can she do the same quality on 50, right? So you have to keep an eye on that and all the holes in the system. And then as the volume picks up, you have to be able to in a relatively fast and efficient way, fill those holes to maintain the quality and to maintain the consistency of the product,
What
and the
about brand?
experience.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, and the experience. The client
Sure.
wants a certain experience from everybody that they deal with. They could choose to go to anywhere to get. They could choose other people. They're not choosing you because you're the only one, right? So they want a certain experience, and we have to make sure that whether it's 10 clients a month or 100 or 1,000, that they're all getting the same experience, which is a top quality one.
What do you do with that? What do you do with brand awareness? Because this is becoming a bigger thing. I mean, I was in Vegas and there's entire sock stores there, right? That I walk through with the kids, and my son bought a bunch of socks. Like,
Yeah.
they're not custom like what you guys do, but I see that. Like, seems like an explosive industry with socks or cool design socks, not custom like what you guys do, but still, I'm sure that affects you. So what do you do
Yeah.
to stand out and get the brand awareness you guys have?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, there's so much in the market right now that's flooding the market. I get that a lot. People are like, Sam, but there's so many sock providers, and we have to do a good job with the clients that we have, making sure that they remember us. And because our best source of business is always referrals. One client who's just referring us to their friends or referring us to their colleagues, that's always the best source. We do put our logo on the back of the label. So anybody who's getting a sock from a client as a gift, they will see the Socrates logo there. But I think what people are remembering about us, which is a little different than some other of our competitors, is that an Italian sock has a certain feel to it. It has a certain look. It has a certain feel. It has a certain quality. I've had some clients be like, we gave away a sock 2 years ago, and somebody called us a week ago and told us that it's their favorite sock, which means that for 2 years, their favorite sock has been washed and washed and washed, and it's still their favorite sock. It hasn't broken down. It's not throwaway clothing. So people are noticing that. They're like, wait, this sock lasts a long time. It has a certain quality to it. It has a certain look and feel. It doesn't break down. So that is our number one way that we can differentiate ourselves. There's no other real way, outside of, running a Super Bowl ad, for us to just build brand awareness, except for client by client by client. And that touches into what I said in the beginning. That's where we've gone slowly, just on a client by client basis, to grow organically through word of mouth and through client referrals.
Do you do anything actively for marketing?
Yes. So we're very active on SEO. If people are Googling custom socks and trying to find us, we're out there, and we're definitely in the game over there. Google Ads is obviously a big source for us. LinkedIn is huge. Just running LinkedIn ads and producing content. We have a blog that we write. People say, how many people are reading a custom socks blog? I look at the numbers. There are actually a lot of people reading a custom socks blog, which is good to see. And we're just out there with content that kind of shows our passion and represents our passion properly. Sometimes when I talk to my team, I'm like, does our website properly represent our passion, or does it look like, that it doesn't? Because we do have the passion. We definitely have that. So we just have to have the website represent that and make sure we're producing the content that shows that, and then people react to that.
So I got to ask that, because it's funny. I talk to so many people that can't think about content ideas, and they're in industries where I'm like, let me give you 100 right now in 2 minutes. But how do you even think of content ideas? Like, how do you do that? Because I couldn't even begin to think of 3 topics I would write a blog on when it comes to socks. So like, how do you get your content ideas?
So the content ideas, and again, this touches into starting a business, because you think you know what you know, then is the day-to-day interactions, over hundreds of interactions with clients, the questions that they're asking, the points that they're wondering about, the things that they want to know, the holes in the website that's not communicating. So they come to us and say, Sam, what do you think about this? And then I think to myself, wait a minute, that could be a blog post. And our project managers as well, like they feed back that information. What are clients thinking about when they're making this purchase, or what would be interesting for them to know as they go through this process of buying, right? So that being said, all of the blog posts that we do ties into the questions. For example, all of the socks are made in a small little town in Italy, Castel Goffredo. And that little town, you would go there, I don't know what the population is, probably 10,000 people. It's such a small little town. They make socks, okay? They're a sock making town, okay? And they have this one food. It's a very specific type of pasta from the region that they grow this special fruit there and they put it in the pasta, you know? And every time we go to the restaurant, that's exactly what they serve at this restaurant. And all of my staff, they love it when they go. And it's like this pasta that they've never had. So we wrote a blog post on that. And now all the clients are writing and being like, hey, can we get the recipe for this pasta? You know? And I'm like, I don't know if the guy I said Boca Raton is going to taste the same as them because that's their regional food. But we wrote a blog post on the pasta and people just responded and being like, that's really interesting about the pasta. So it wasn't about socks, but it tied into the passion of making the socks in this region, you know, and that was interesting to people.
Yeah, it sounds like what do you think the key is to building the tribe you built? Because you're scaling and growing in large part because you're building a tribe of people that are passionate about what you guys, how do you figure that out? So many people are watching this saying, man, like, I can't even do this for mine. You're doing it for socks. It's very hard to do. So what do you think are some of the keys there to build a tribe that's just as passionate about what you're doing as what you guys are?
Yeah, I would say the number one thing is kind of like, don't talk about all of the passion and just, you have to show the passion. You're going to have to show it. You're going to need some time to show it. It's easy to just say we're passionate, but you have to show it through your actions, right? So I think that our team does a good job of all of us showing each other that we're passionate. I have one designer and she's so talented. And, you know, there are orders that come in late and they're rushes. And then you see her emailing at like 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. And that just shows that she cares a lot. She just cares a lot. And that shows the whole team that she cares a lot. So it kind of like, it's like, you know, through osmosis, everybody starts caring because they see that key people are caring a lot, you know? So my number one thing is just actions. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to keep saying the word passion in every meeting. You have to show passion, and people will pick up on it. People are good at picking up on true passion, and they're really good at picking up on fake passion, right? So yeah, they're really good at it, and we take care of people, and people that are working hard, we take care of them. They take care of us. It's kind of like, you know, we're all in this together. Do you want the company to succeed? Does it, you know, it helps your life, it helps our life, it helps everybody, it helps our clients. If you want it to succeed, we're all going to have to pitch in. It's not just me. It's not just one other person. It's the whole team. So I'd say do more and say less. You know, that would be my number one tip on that, you know.
Overall, what's your absolute favorite sock you guys have produced?
Yeah. You know, we've done some cool ones. We did one today for actually this week for Marvel. I thought that was a really cool one. They have a show coming out. We've a lot of TV like Bad Boys and you know, we did some different TV shows. They come to us, and those are interesting, and those are challenging though, because they want everything on the sock. It's very specific, and they want craziness on the sock. And we're really true to the woven sock versus the printed sock. We really like woven technology, so we have to make it in a way that's woven. So we're always going back and forth and being like, well, we can't do this, but can we do this? And we can't do this, but can we do this? So those are my favorite socks. I really like the retros. I wear the retros every day. It's kind of cool. My kids think they're like really old school, but I personally think they're great. And I know this sounds a little weird, but sometimes when I'm producing like really, really crazy socks all day, I kind of like that one client who's like, Sam, can I just get a navy sock with a white stripe on the top with my little logo on the bottom? I'm kind of like, you know what? Sometimes less is more. Sometimes it's like, you don't have to overdo it. You don't have to work so hard. We give a label with the socks, so the branding's there. You know, put your logo on the sock, but sometimes I get up in the morning, I'm like, I don't need craziness, you know, so let me just put on some stable, you know, like conservative sock. I wear that. So I'd say my favorites are, I like the conservative one, like, you know, 30-40% of the time, but then I like those Marvel, you know, the exciting ones, like, you know, half the time as well. So I'm in the middle, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, that's one of the things I love by looking at your site is that, you know, the woven is so cool because what they're giving you, like somebody's logo, if you're watching this, you should just go to the website and check this out. And again, that is sockerdescustom.com. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But what I like is that the designs are woven into the socks. They're not just printed and put on like you'd see on a shirt. So like the artistry of it is just beautiful. I look at your site, I just smile. Like, it's just so awesome. That being said, Sam, where can everybody go that's listening, watching? We have a lot of entrepreneurs here and this is a great idea for them to give away gifts, for them to be able to build their own brand. So where can they go if they want to actually get some orders with you guys and be able to create their own custom socks?
Yeah, super simple. You can go to SocratesCustom.com. That's sock and then rates together. It's Socrates, SOCKRATES, custom.com. Or of course, you can just email me, sam@SocratesCustom.com. And the one thing that we pride ourselves on finally here is just to make it simple. You reach out to us, you send us your logo and colors, we'll do the rest. We won't let us, take you on the journey of getting to the final sock. And then, 7 days, you'll check the mail and everything will be at your door. So super simple. Go to SocratesCustom.com and that's pretty much it.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
So listen, you're watching and listening to this. The first thing you should do, you should really go to SocratesCustom.com. And that's, again, as he said, SOCK, rate, or rates, RATES, custom.com, SocratesCustom.com. The website's so cool. There's so much information here. There's an FAQ section. They really clearly spell out exactly what the process is, pricing, everything you can learn about their company, about their work. And I hope you've enjoyed this, because this is an interesting interview. What we wanted to do today was talk about Sam's journey and how he was able to pivot. And there's so many lessons, if you even go back and play this a second or third time, that you'll be able to apply to your business. But the second thing is, this is phenomenal. This is something that you could just use to stand out above the rest. And it's something that you can give away as a gift to be able to get clients, to be able to buy more, to be able to attract more clients, get more referrals. I'm not saying you're doing it with an intent in mind, but what I am saying is that this is a really cool gift that you can use to be able to expand the brand of your company and business, something they'll love and use for years. And it's just an easy way to spread the word about you and your company as well. So make sure you check out SocratesCustom.com. Really cool. And make sure you order some custom socks for your business to be able to expand your brand and to be able to, test these out yourself, because there's something to be said about a small Italian town that makes phenomenal pasta and also makes phenomenal socks as well. So thanks for tuning in, everybody.